Hey everyone, welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Genetics, the road to the father and son men's physique show. I'm Gonzalo Herrero, and here you'll see some video of my son Chandler. Together, we're going to try to get to a men's physique competition. We've never done this before, so in episode 2, we're going to lay out the master plan and give you guys an idea what it is that we're doing. The first piece of news is that our show got moved from November 1st, 2025 to November 15th, 2025. So that gives us an extra 2 weeks to prep, which frankly we need. At least I need. Chandler's in good shape, so it's not going to take much to shred him down. Me, however, for me to feel comfortable on that stage, it's going to take a little bit of work. But in any case, that does give us an extra 2 weeks, and the show we've chosen is the Iron City Classic here in Birmingham, Alabama. Actually, it has been moved to Gadsden, Alabama, which is right by the city of Birmingham, relatively close, within an hour or so. Again, November 15th. And we'll have more information about that on the show later on. I believe their website goes live next week, from what the promoters have told us. But in any case, so we've assembled the first piece of news, as we discussed the master plan, is that we've assembled a great team of coaches, and I want to thank each and every one of them for giving of their time and their attention and giving us the opportunity to make this dream come true for Chandler. So first, we're going to name our main prep coach, the head of it all, the man who's going to get us ready to be on stage and get us stage ready. And that man is no stranger to people who watch or follow this channel. It's Mr. Big Paul Barnett, an amazing world-class coach. He's brought many athletes to many successful competitions and outcomes, and we are just thrilled and flattered that he has agreed to help us with this. And Paul, thanks again, yet again. I don't think we could do this without you, honestly. So thank you. And he will be the main coach and linchpin and kind of help guide us through this journey, because this is very different from what I've been used to from the transformation side of the house. A weight loss transformation from 100 pounds to being healthy is a very different and story, and far less precise story, than, say, contest prep for an athlete, which is, the difference is, as Paul described it, is between landing an airplane slowly and calmly in a field versus landing a fighter jet on an aircraft carrier deck, where like everything counts. Every single yard that you're off course makes a difference. And so again, Big Paul, thanks so much for being our main prep coach and main show coach. Second, I wanted to thank Mr. Kevin Burke. Kevin Burke has been working with Chandler for over 3 years now, maybe 4. And Mr. Burke is a specialist in training people with special needs. He is a master he trains people for running and marathon, as well as resistance training, with a specific and very watchful eye and an incredible amount of knowledge about working with people with special needs. As you can imagine, there are certain challenges in working with people with special needs or intellectual disabilities, in order to get them to understand the feedback, to get them motivated, to get them compliant, to get them to move in a safe fashion. Because in that case, the goal is not just aesthetics or just general wellness. It's also mobility and giving them the ability through exercise to enjoy life, to better move through space, to be safer, to be better all around, and overcome some of the issues that may come with, depending on the disability, be it physical or mental. In any case, Kevin is a master and has decades of experience working with folks like that, and he's mainly the reason Chandler is probably as jacked and as healthy as he is. So Mr. Kevin Burke from Phase Gym, again, thank you so much. By the way, we will interview all of these coaches at some point throughout the process, so that you, the audience, get to learn about them. And perhaps if you're interested, or they offer a service that you may be interested in, you'll be able to contact them and learn more. So we're excited about that. And our third coach, just as important. Everyone plays a part in this team, right? In order to this is the Avengers of contest prep, basically. And our third coach is Mr. Michael D. Williams. Michael is an IFBB Men's Physique Pro. He's all natural, I believe, and he has kindly agreed to also help us with arguably one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult piece of this discipline to explain, because this is the artistry piece, which is the actual pose and presentation of the athlete. How do you move through space in order to present your physique, in order to be judged appropriately and present the work that we will be doing throughout all these weeks in the most beneficial way to get the best outcome, right? And get the best results possible, because ultimately it is a show, but it is a competition. So we want to put our, no pun intended, our best foot forward and present as best we can. So Michael's helping us with understanding the basics of posing, how to flex, how to present the physique, how to move through space, how to entertain the crowd, all the ins and outs that years of experience on the stage that he has acquired, he's going to, thankfully, he has decided to share with us. So that's incredible. So again, our three coaches, our head coach, if you will, prep coach, show coach, Mr. Big Paul Barnett, our functional coach for Chandler for fitness, mobility, and special training in order to get him better, Mr. Kevin Burke. And last, Mr. Michael D. Williams, who will be our physique posing coach. And we'll be working with all three of them a lot throughout the following weeks. So next, let's talk a little bit about the plan. Now that we have the master plan, we've described the pieces as far as the large areas that we'll be focused in as we prepare for the show. The next thing to consider, or the first part, is the diet and nutrition plan. And here's where Big Paul has become our guiding light and our Sherpa on the mountain to fitness. He brings a vast wealth of knowledge to us that he's shared. There's definitely a prep strategy already happening. We're having weekly check-ins, and also he's helping us understand better the idea of, in his approach, utilizes carb cycling, which is a relatively new concept to me as far as the application of it and how it's actually the specifics of how it's applied. So Chandler and I are both following his plan. And of course, as we go, we'll give him feedback. We'll do check-in pictures every week. We're tracking our weight, our blood pressure, all of those good things in order to provide all the latest information so Big Paul can make adjustments and tell us what we need to adjust, what to change, what to raise, what to lower. In the case of Chandler, compliance is not an issue as long as surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, if I tell him to eat something because as his dad, he might refuse. But if I tell him that Coach Paul says that he should eat a certain way, or Coach Kevin or Coach Michael, he'll absolutely do it. He'll become very, very compliant, which is great, in the grand scheme of things. So from that perspective, he's very compliant. The challenge here is for me as an adult and a working professional, I can certainly prep in order to follow directions. It's relatively easy, and it's not very, very different from what I usually do as far as my everyday diet and nutrition plans. I usually prep anyway, even in the what I guess is now the off season, if I'm going to keep doing this. So that's not a completely unknown or difficult thing to understand or learn. It's more about the specifics of the carb cycling plan, what things are in, what things are out, and adjusting those. For Chandler, we do our best to provide him those meals. He doesn't have to prep or anything. We give him that. Now, of course, with his very active lifestyle and being in different places where he's not around mom, dad, or the team all the time, that does present some challenges and some planning. But again, with a little bit of planning, we can stick to that nutritional plan. I'd say in his case, probably 90% of the way. So thankfully, we'll be following that as far as diet and nutrition goes. So far, as far as cravings and so forth, he's in this first week, he hasn't complained of any of the changes. He's very curious. In my case, on my medium days, I'm perfectly fine. Energy levels are great. I'm starting to see results on the scale and visually. High days, I've had a sort of high day. I never even made it all the way to the amount of carbs that are the limit of the high day. And low days are a bit of a challenge for now, but I'm still working on my strategy. And the challenge I find there is the energy levels, right? Because it's a lot less caloric intake on those days. Thankfully, I've been able to kind of strategize and move things around so far, so it's not too bad. And again, we just started, so I'm sure it might get progressively a little bit harder as we move forward. All right, talking about functional strength training, as I mentioned before, Chandler works mainly with Mr. Kevin Burke. So one thing that I wanted to mention is that there are a couple of challenges with working with Chandler, and I'll be very specific in addressing those. So Kevin works with him a lot with functional mobility type training. Think of kettlebells, think of resistance training with a lot of body weight, some machines, a lot of explosive movements, as appropriate, box jumps, that kind of thing. There's a lot of work there. We're only now starting to very carefully introduce barbells and some of the equipment that may require a little bit more control and a little bit more precision in order to get the results we want. So, for example, when we want to work with Chandler, there are a lot of pull-ups, a lot of push-ups, that kind of thing, and he's been able to build his physique accordingly with that. In my case, I favor an 1 day on, 1 day off full body training style is what I've been doing the last few months. Recently, I had it tweaked by Dr. Todd Lee, who's also, again, graciously given a little bit of support and information to help us as we go through this. So, Dr. Todd, thank you for that. And in my case, I'm no stranger to the gym. I've been working out consistently and strength training for 8 years now. So it's more a matter of honing that technique. The basics are down. So it's more a matter of selecting what's appropriate, what intensity is appropriate, what can I recover. I am 54 years old. So, the amount of volume and intensity matters a lot in order to move forward. It is my understanding we are now in contest prep. So really the focus now is more fat loss and, getting peeled, really, more so than the actual building of new tissue. So looking forward to that. So far, so good. Recovery has been great. I do leverage a lot of biometrics and so forth in order to monitor my state, be it how I'm resting, how sore I am, how I feel my energy levels, etc. Training for me also involves every single day 20 minutes of fasted cardio. I wake up very early in the morning. That is a non-negotiable. That is for not just for the fat loss, but absolutely more for cardiovascular health, to stay healthy, stay in good shape. Things are in good shape, knock on wood as I say that, and we aim to keep them that way. And I also walk an average of 10 to 11,000 steps a day in different ways, depending on life, office, work. Sometimes that'll be a long walk very early in the morning. Other days it'll be 3 separate walks split out throughout the day after meals, for example. It all depends. Sometimes with a 25-pound weighted vest, sometimes just without the vest, whatever's convenient. Usually outside, sometimes on a treadmill if it's in the office and I just have no time, then I'll do the incline treadmill. So that works. All right. So as far as posing now, third part of so Michael Williams, again, our IFBB Pro and guru in posing. We are taking lessons for now. It seems like every other week with practicing daily. We do practice daily. Now, we are competing in men's physique. There's a couple of reasons for that. Mainly because that's what fits our body types best. We're not mass monsters. We're not huge. So that's one factor. The second factor, and I think probably the most important in my opinion, is that posing requirements are a little less strict. There's less to learn, if you will. In order to compete, you can get away with a couple less poses. You don't have minimum requirements. Like my understanding is, like, for example, Classic has a minimum, I believe, of 5 or 6 poses that the judges expect to see from you. With men's physique, I believe you can whittle it down to 2 or 3, which does make it, because one of the challenges with working with Chandler is, remember, he has to go on stage, engage the audience, engage the judges, and perform this routine without any kind of coaching. So he's going to have to learn how to pose. He's going to also have to learn how to put it all together. And he's also going to have to learn how to manage that walk, on stage, from presentation to presenting his physique, to if he needs to do quarter turns, anything like that. So we're trying to come up with a fairly bulletproof, synchronized presentation, if you will, routine, so that he just has to focus on just that execution and it becomes hopefully second nature. It becomes just muscle memory. So Michael's been, again, very gracious with his time, and he's great at giving Chandler cues that he can follow. One of the challenges with working with Chan, for example, is that his mind muscle connection is perhaps not as intuitive as a typical person. So it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes to tell him, like, all right, we need you to, like, engage your lats and pull them out. He might not have quite as easy of a time to making that muscle mind muscle connection, making that trigger, right, and making that happen. So we're working on ways and cues and poses that are more natural and intuitive for him, in order for him to be able to perform on stage. And then it's putting all those pieces together, right? Everything from like the moment you walk in to that wave, to the crowd and judges, that smile, making sure to smile throughout and enjoy the process, when to turn, when to hit that X mark, all these things. So we're working through that with Michael, and honestly, we're having a good old time doing that. So that's great. So, all right, that's it. That's it for now. Our first check-in was yesterday. I'm waiting on Paul's feedback to see what he says, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what we should modify. We're definitely trying to figure out that, again, and keeping in mind that this is the beginning of a very long journey. It's more about, it's not just the abs or the stage stand or the presentation. It's the discipline, it's the teamwork, and hopefully this legacy, this experience is unique. I'm very much looking forward to sharing the stage with my son and seeing what he can do and seeing him push. He's pushed past so many barriers. He graduated from the University of Alabama a few years ago. Nobody said he could. More than a few people were like, no, there's no way he can. He did. He's conquered so many obstacles from when he was a baby. I mean, a month into his life, he had to have heart surgery in order to thrive. So it's been a battle. It's been a battle, and he's been so far extremely fortunate, thank God, and extremely strong and determined with a great support system to conquer all of these adversities. And this may be a hard, extreme thing to do, but good things are hard things usually. So we're looking forward to that. So it doesn't really matter if we bring home medals or just some spray tans. You guys are going to see it all. So hopefully it'll be great. Thank you so much. I hope you keep an eye on our progress as we go. Watch Geeked and Jacked if you enjoy that kind of nerd talk with Dr. Todd Lee and Larry. And also, if you're interested in some of the Rise 41 podcast information, we have episodes that are about optimizing yourself. Hopefully that can be helpful for you and your life. We also have a lot of interviews with very inspiring people who in some way, shape, or form either have something to teach or they've overcome adversity and have an inspiring story to share with you. So again, hit the button, like, subscribe, do all the things. And I really hope that you get something out of it. If nothing else, you'll get some funny entertainment out of this, because this is going to be, I am sure that it'll be humorous as well as fun. And if nothing else, also some inspiration that no matter what it is, how hard it seems, if you put your heart and mind to it, you can do it. You can do this too. If we can do this, and this is, when you think about it, a potentially hard endeavor, but a fun one. But if we can do hard things, absolutely so can you. And hopefully we can give you a sense of inspiration and wonder even as we go through this process. So thank you for your time. And yeah, we'll see you soon with the next update and this vlog, and we'll have some more stuff to share. Thank you so much, everyone, and thanks for watching.